Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I thought I'd start this off like a Zoom meeting from March 2020. Can you hear me? Can you see me? My name's Flora Gordon, and I'm a certified design professional. And here is More Accessible by Default, Making Readable Designs the Norm. So a bit about me, longtime lurker at Creative Pulse, first-time presenter. I'm an award-winning identity designer, so I spend about half the time of my branding agency. The other half is for publications, accessibility, and those are my areas of study and teaching at Simon Fraser University. And I'm also part of a really cool upcoming initiative. I'm supporting fellow Descan board member Marty Shook on the LifeSci Creative project, so I hope that you pay attention when he talks, because he'll be giving you the juicy deets on that. So all the resources from this presentation are at this QR code, short link, or it's just a matter of pinging me on LinkedIn and I will send them to you. So you don't need to record any URLs that I mentioned. So mine starts at a big board meeting. I am trying to land a really big client and be their agency of record, the communications manager, brand management, and I'm excited to tell them about all my experience as an accessibility consultant. So I'm gonna put in all sorts of features to make the call to action clear. I'm gonna make the text readable, legible, as accessible as possible, and all of a sudden, I get a comment that that's not our audience. Our audience does not have barriers to reading. They explain that their audience is mostly dealing with barriers to mobility. So these would be people living with disabilities and barriers. They may be using mobility aids to get around and just otherwise like injuries, but they don't have any issues with reading. And at that moment, I absolutely froze because I'm used to very positive commentary about my accessibility work. I'm used to people cheering me on and being excited to learn more. At that moment, someone took a picture. Here I am, and I just completely checked out. Fortunately, one of my friends stood up and helped me, but because I do not have a time machine, I'm going to give you the material to defend this kind of argument. If someone says that readability is not important, accessibility doesn't apply to our audience, I'm going to give you tips and I'm going to recount what I wish I had said. So I'm going to take you back to this idea of segmentation. We love to oversimplify things and put people into categories. I'll take you back to high school. There were jocks and then there were nerds. Ask me how I know. Anyways, we want to put people with, say, a barrier to hearing in one box, and a barrier to mobility in another box, and a barrier to vision in a third box, and then just think, okay, we can get by without accommodating these other groups of people. So the first thing I wish I would have said was mobility barriers can contribute to reading barriers. If you see the woman in the picture behind me, if I'm not blocking her, I'll give her some. She's using both her hands to help herself read here by adjusting her glasses and adjusting the paper. If you've never thought about how much you use your arms, your hands, and other parts of your body to help you read, it's probably because you're able-bodied. So one thing I wanted to show as an example is here I'm at the Canada Line station. One picture here with the Coast Capital ads. Someone can go right up to that, even in a mobility aid, in a wheelchair. They can get right up there. They can get right to the distance. But if it's across the tracks, and they will yell at you if you try to get too close to there. Again, ask me how I know. But you need to have way bigger font sizes, way more contrast to allow this to be visible, because it's either through that tiny SkyTrain window, if you're unfortunate enough to be stuck on the Canada Line, or it's all the way across the platform. So while the people with mobility barriers don't specifically have vision barriers in this case, the distance is creating it. So next, comorbidities and co-occurring disabilities, they're super common. So think of someone who is recently in a motor vehicle accident or a sports accident of some kind. So those people are quite often also experiencing a concussion. And what did they say when you get a concussion? No screens, no reading, no squinting your eyes. So those people are also going to need really to the point, high contrast, large text. Get to the point. Let me know if this is relevant to me or not. In addition, Alzheimer's and glaucoma are very frequently co-occurring. So you may think dementia, memory loss, and just regular age-related degeneration of vision, but it goes further than that with actual glaucoma. So when I talk about laying out a page, and I could spend my entire presentation on this, but the big, huge headline, the shorter line length, the clear visual hierarchy, we need to answer that question right away. Is this relevant to me? If not, let's free up my time and energy for something else. When you have a super long line length, the eye has to keep refreshing, and you actually tire the person out. So what you need to do is shorten the line length, increase the margins, this is in print and web, and make things easier. There are specific instructions on this in your resources. Next, I want to say that more readable text benefit many other target audience groups. So I'm talking about tired people, I'm talking about people who are in a rush at the airport and need to know vital safety information, where they're going to next, they're distracted. So when you have something like a billboard, you've got about 6 words. You don't want to distract someone with a long story. You have to get your point across, right? And I also wish I had said to them that accessible and readable designs demonstrate inclusivity. So imagine a museum with ramps and buttons to help people open the door, and then once people get in there, nothing's in a language they can read or a font size they can take in. So it's slightly frowned upon nowadays to accommodate one group and not another. So having readable communications just demonstrates your organization's mission of inclusion. There are a lot of great tools out there. These are probably familiar. We've got a color blindness simulator. 1 out of 8 men have barriers to seeing color. We also have contrast checkers. These are really easy to use. Next, I'm going to talk about accessible designs. They're actually becoming required by law. The Ontario laws are moving west. BC accessibility laws and things like that. So public-facing, public sector, Crown Corporation websites have to be accessible to a greater group of people. They have to work with screen readers, etc. So one thing I wanted to say was, wouldn't it be really clear so that someone who doesn't have the benefit of seeing a thumbnail can get an idea if this is the file or not, especially if your desktop looks like mine. Second one is, I see a lot of people writing their text with ChatGPT. There are too many smiley face emojis in there because it will, again, interrupt the diamond text, right? So ask ChatGPT or your preferred AI text generator to scrub your text and keep it to about 3 per communication. So techniques for increasing accessibility are evolving. So this means that user testing, new technology, AI, these are all going to help us reach more people, reach them better. There are tools that will audit your website and actually customize it, emerging tools to customize it for future audiences, and let you know where people are getting stuck in the UX design. And the last thing is that advocating for accessibility, it takes a lot of preparation. Even though I thought I was pretty prepared in that meeting, I obviously wasn't ready with that answer. So that I hope that today I've given you enough information to have a strong case when you're next presenting. And I hope that you can help make a more inclusive communication world for everybody else. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I may forget your name if we met tonight, so remind me, the little cat, remind me who you are in the communication request and that you heard this talk. Thank you so much.